The beauty of Morocco is such that when your eyes fall upon it, you feel as if someone painted the world not with colors, but with light. In the morning, when the first rays of the sun touch the Atlas, the mountains glow like molten copper. Down in the valleys, the shadows of palm trees stretch long across the red earth. The air carries the scent of wild lavender and rosemary. Somewhere in the distance, a waterfall murmurs, blending softly with the call of birds. Entering a riad in Marrakech feels blinding. The walls are decorated with zelej, thousands of tiny tiles joined piece by hand. When the light hits them, the walls seem to breathe. In the middle, a fountain sparkles as the sun is shattered on its blue-green mosaic. Around it lie the shadows of orange trees and the fragrance of jasmine. Climb to the rooftop and you'll see the red city spread out like the petals of a giant rose resting on the lap of the Atlas. Walking through the blue lanes of Chefchaouen feels like stepping into a dream within reality. Every wall is blue, sometimes deep, sometimes sky pale. The stairs are blue, the doors are blue, even the flower pots are blue. When the sunlight falls, the whole town becomes a living sapphire. Old men in white djellabas sit by their doors with cats napping at their feet. The air smells of mint tea, and from a distant mosque, the call to prayer drifts through the alleys. Watching the sunset in the Sahara feels like the world pauses. The waves of sand turn crimson, then violet, then a deep blue. The sky has not a single cloud. The stars ignite suddenly, so close it feels you could reach out and touch them. Everything around is silent and cool. Somewhere, the bell around a camel's neck rings, a sound that feels like it has echoed the same way for 1,000 years. Standing by the sea in Essaouira, you smell salt and seaweed in the wind. White walls, blue doors, and windows. Walking along the alleys, you'll still find old Portuguese cannons aimed at the ocean. At sunset, the sky and sea become the same color, as if someone poured molten gold across the horizon. In the high Atlas villages, winter mornings leave the mud brick roofs wrapped in fog. Smoke rises from chimneys. Far away, snow-covered peaks blaze in sunlight. Berber women pass by in red-black striped shawls, silver jewelry chiming on their necks. Beside the road, goats sit perched on argan trees, like a dream painted into real life. At night, lying on the rooftop of any riad feels like staring at a black velvet sky embroidered with diamonds. The Maghrib Adhan rises from one mosque, then another, then 10 more, as if the entire city breathes together. Somewhere a flute plays, and in the distance the drums of Gnawa echo. Such is the beauty of Morocco. Something your eyes see, your nose hears, your skin feels, and your heart keeps forever. Moroccan cities feel like living beings. Each city has its own breath, its own heartbeat, its own scent and touch. Each one leaves a different mark on me. Marrakech wraps me in a warm embrace. Fez whispers in my ear. Chefchaouen paints me blue. Essaouira leaves salt on my lips. And even when I leave, their scent, their touch, their breath stays on my skin, forever. The Moroccan sky always holds a burnt orange glow. When Sahara dust mixes into the wind, the sky turns into a flaming rose even before the sun sets. I came here for the first time in 2017. The moment I entered a narrow lane in the Medina of Fez, an old man said, "You will get lost, but don't worry. Here, getting lost is the way to be found." His name was Abdallah. Over 70, yet mischief still sparkled in his eyes. He took me to his little riad. Sitting on the rooftop, drinking tea, he said, "Morocco is 4 things: mountains, sea, desert, and people. Everything else is decoration." At dawn the next day, we headed toward the Atlas. From the village of Imlil, walking along the path to Tubkal, I saw Berber women wrapped in red-green shawls carrying firewood on their heads. Abdallah said, "They are Amazi. They've lived in these mountains for 3,000 years. Arabic came, French came, Spanish came, but their language and their songs are still alive." In March, snow falls on the Atlas peaks while almond blossoms flare red in the orchards below. 2 seasons living on the same mountain. Then we went to Merzouga. At the edge of the Sahara, where the dunes begin, there was a small camp. At night, we lay under the stars. Suddenly, Abdallah started singing, in Amazi. His voice was cracked, but filled with such sorrow, it felt like the Sahara itself was crying. He said, "My father sang this when the French soldiers took him away." The song didn't stop. The next morning, we rode camels into the middle of Erg Shebi. When the sun rose over the dunes, the color was so intense it soothed the eyes. No sound, only the wind and my heartbeat. Back in Essaouira, I watched the ocean. Atlantic waves crashed against the ancient Portuguese fort. The little fishing boats were painted blue. Abdallah said, "Pirates once lived here. Now it's surfers and hippies, but the sea is the same." Finally, Fez again, the day before Ramadan. Walking through Bab Bojloud, the call to prayer suddenly filled the air. Thousands of people froze. Shops closed, cars stopped, even a street cat seemed to pause. For 5 minutes, the whole city held its breath. Then life began again. I asked Abdallah, "What is your country's greatest treasure?" He smiled and pointed around. "The fact that we are still here. After all the fire, we never forgot how to smile. That is Morocco." On the day I left, he gave me a small leather pouch. Inside was a handful of Sahara sand. "Whenever life feels heavy," he said, "throw a little sand into the air. The wind will carry it away. That's what we do here." To this day, I keep that pouch in my chest pocket. Whenever the city smoke feels suffocating, I take a pinch of sand and toss it out the window. And I feel like I can hear Abdallah's cracked voice singing the Sahara's song.